It was past midnight. Snow blanketed the world like a ghostly quilt, and the wind cut through the trees like icy knives. Tom Carter gripped the steering wheel of his old sedan, knuckles white against the cracked leather. The streets were empty, silent except for the growl of his engine and the steady thump of the windshield wipers. His shift at the auto shop had ended hours ago, but he drove aimlessly, unable to face the silence at home. A home that used to echo with laughter, now reduced to a whisper of memories. Grief had a way of freezing even warmth into something cold. Tom was a single dad, raising his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, who asked about her mom more often than he had answers. Then, near a dimly lit bend on Maple Ridge, he saw her. A woman, barefoot in the snow, wearing a white dress streaked with mud and ice. Her shoulders shivered violently. She held her heels in one hand as if she'd been walking for miles. Her wide, glassy eyes met his for a fleeting second before looking away, ashamed, scared, or maybe both. Tom slammed on the brakes. Before we dive deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of helping someone when no one's watching, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe. Stories like this remind us that true courage sometimes comes in silence. Tom stepped out into the bitter cold without hesitation. He wrapped his jacket around her shoulders without a word. The woman flinched but didn't run. She looked exhausted, as if carrying not just the weight of the snow, but the weight of the world itself. Her name, he would learn later, was Elise, and her story would change him forever. They sat in silence in his car for several minutes. She refused the heater at first, afraid it would fog the windows, afraid to be seen. Her fingers clutched his coat tightly. Tom didn't push. He had learned as a father that some people needed time before they could speak, especially when running from something unimaginable. Elise was supposed to marry a billionaire hotel mogul named Martin Grayson that very day. The wedding was televised. The guest list read like a magazine cover: celebrities, royalty, and power players. She was set to become Mrs. Grayson, a name worth more than most empires. But behind the glitz and glamour was a reality she couldn't live with. Elise had been adopted into wealth, expected to marry into it for her family's legacy. Her fiancé was powerful, ruthless, and cruel behind closed doors. No one believed her cries for help. No one saw the bruises hidden beneath designer gowns or the broken spirit behind the flawless smile. Until she ran. She had escaped through the cathedral's kitchen door, sprinted into the storm, heels in hand, dress torn on wrought iron fences, stumbling through frozen streets like a ghost escaping her own grave. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she had to get away. Tom listened quietly as she unraveled her story piece by piece. He never interrupted. He never judged. He offered her something she hadn't felt in years: safety. The next few days were fragile. Tom let her stay in the guest room, a space barely bigger than a storage closet. But Lily, curious and bright, immediately took to the mysterious woman. Elise, even broken, had a warmth children could sense. She read to Lily, helped her with homework, even braided her hair the castle way, as she called it. Tom watched the so-called runaway bride slowly transform. She went from barely speaking to bringing light back into his quiet home. And yet, the shadows weren't far behind. News reports exploded: billionaire bride disappears mid-ceremony. Photos of Elise circulated everywhere. Rewards were offered. She begged Tom not to turn her in. "If they find me, they'll make me go back. You don't understand what he's capable of," she whispered, voice breaking. Tom had never seen fear like that. But he also knew they couldn't hide forever. He had a choice: protect a woman he barely knew or protect his daughter from the chaos this could bring. One night, Lily surprised him. "Daddy, you told me good people help sad people. Miss Elise is very sad. Please don't let the bad man take her." Those words stuck. Tom contacted a lawyer friend who specialized in domestic abuse cases. What they uncovered about Martin Grayson was horrifying. Elise hadn't just escaped a bad marriage. She had escaped a cage. Photos, documents, testimony from former employees. It was enough to open a full investigation. It wasn't easy. Martin sent men, offered money, threatened. But Elise, with Tom and Lily at her side, stood her ground. Slowly, the world began to see her truth. Months passed. Elise was no longer the woman in the torn dress. She became a voice for women trapped behind wealth and status. Her story made headlines for the right reasons. And Tom found healing, too. In helping Elise, he began forgiving himself for the things he couldn't fix in the past. Lily laughed more. The house was full again, not with noise, but with life. If this story touched your heart, if you believe in compassion, second chances, and the quiet power of kindness. Like, comment, and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe, so we can keep bringing you real, unforgettable stories that remind us what it means to be human. Before you go, tell us in the comments, have you ever helped a stranger when they needed it most? Or has a stranger ever changed your life unexpectedly? We'd love to hear your story. Because sometimes, the smallest act of courage, the decision to stop, listen, and care, can save not just a life, but restore hope for a broken family. Tom never forgot that night on Maple Ridge. The snow, the fear, the soft voice of a woman in white, and the eyes of a child who reminded him that doing the right thing matters. Elise didn't just escape the storm outside, she escaped the storm inside herself. And in that escape, she and Tom found something far more precious than wealth, fame, or safety. They found trust, friendship, and hope.